I have transmigrated into the role of a mere pawn, a newborn daughter of a noble family destined for a tragic fate. My entire family is comprised of mere bystanders, fated to perish within 3 chapters. Mother, the ginseng soup you've consumed is poisoned. The one who has administered the poison is your trusted maid. As my mother trembles, the bowl clatters to the ground, shattering at the feet of the maid. Father, the items concealed in your study's secret compartment are incriminating evidence of embezzlement. The authorities will raid our home by dawn. The smile on my father's face freezes as that very night, the secret compartment lies empty. Elder brother, your beloved harbors a spy sent by the Crown Prince's most formidable enemy. My elder brother silently retracts the betrothal jade pendant he had intended to gift. Second brother, the ally you trust seeks to swindle you of your fortune. In a swift retaliation, my second brother ensures the adversary is left destitute. Third brother, your examination essay has been usurped by another. Without delay, my third brother knocks upon the door of the chief examiner, determined to reclaim his work. I recline comfortably in my cradle, nibbling on my fingers, while my family surrounds me in fits of laughter. Later, when the Crown Prince is attacked, I find myself internally screaming in desperation. Behind the left pillar, the Imperial Guards swiftly subdue the assassin. The Crown Prince gazes thoughtfully at my cradle, remarking, "I sense a profound connection with this girl." Introduction. The midwife's hands were remarkably steady, almost unnervingly so. After she turned me upside down, she delivered a resounding slap to my backside. A piercing wail shattered the oppressive silence of the delivery room. "Congratulations, madam. It's a precious daughter." The midwife's voice rang out with an exaggerated cheerfulness. She cradled me tightly and brought me close to the pale-faced Lady Ho, Su Qingyue. "Miss looks quite spirited." "Madam, look." Su Qingyue, with a weak flutter of her eyelids, gazed at the crumpled little being swaddled before her. Her expression revealed exhaustion, yet it was laced with tenderness. "Good child," she murmured, extending a finger to gently caress my face. Yet, a fleeting shadow of disappointment flickered in the midwife's eyes. She quickly plastered on a smile. "Madam, isn't the baby as cry a bit subdued? Usually children cry quite loudly." The midwife gave my back a gentle pat, urging me on. "Cry louder, dear. Let your mother hear you." What nonsense. A clear voice erupted in my mind. "Can't you see I'm about to faint from exhaustion? Stop the racket. And you, old hag, how much has Lady Lu paid you off?" Constantly implying I'm unhealthy, wanting to worry my mother into a frail state. Bah! How wicked! Su Qingyue's outstretched finger abruptly halted midair. The warmth of her gentle expression froze in an instant. Her weary eyes widened in disbelief and horror. The midwife remained oblivious, still energetically bouncing me. "Miss, cry loudly. It brings good fortune. Fortune my foot." That voice roared in Su Qingyue's mind again. "If you shake me more, I swear I'll spit milk all over you." This is infuriating. I just entered this narrative and am already being tormented by an old witch. What a hellish start for this cannon fodder role. Su Qingyue fixed her gaze on the sleeping infant in the midwife's arms, whose eyes were closed and lips slightly parted, seemingly only capable of instinctive whimpers. Her chest heaved violently. Was that irritable, youthful voice truly coming from her daughter? The midwife finally sensed the tension in the air. She held me and looked at Su Qingyue, a hint of confusion in her expression. "Madam? What's wrong? Your face looks dreadful." Su Qingyue took a deep breath, forcing herself to regain her composure. "Give me the child," she stated, pausing for a moment. The midwife quickly and cautiously handed over the swaddled bundle. Su Qingyue embraced me, feeling my small, warm body against her. She lowered her gaze, fixating on her daughter's tightly shut eyes, those thick lashes resembling delicate fans. The tempestuous voice momentarily faded away. Yet, Su Qingyue's heart felt as though it had been cast into a deep abyss, tumultuous waves churning within, impossible to calm. 01 Father. Your pill. Lord Guzhen of Dingyuan strode vigorously into the main courtyard. Madam. Even before his arrival, his voice preceded him. "Where is my daughter? Let me see her." Clad in a dark, cold attire that contrasted sharply with the warm embrace of the bedroom, his gaze zeroed in on the swaddled bundle in Su Qingyue's arms. The urgency on Guzhen's face swiftly transformed into a silly grin. "Oh, my little darling." He rubbed his hands together as he approached, his movements exceedingly gentle, fearful of disturbing the sleeping child. He extended his rough fingers to delicately touch my cheek. So soft, like freshly steamed milk cake. He chuckled. Su Qingyue regarded him with a complex, inscrutable expression. The earlier heart-stopping revelations still swirled in her mind. "My lord." She began, hesitating. Guzhan was wholly absorbed in his precious daughter. He gently poked my tiny fist, exclaiming, "Look at these little hands, so strong. Oh, foolish father. Stop grinning." The voice surged back into Su Qingyue's ears with crystal clarity. "Your days of merriment are numbered. 3 days hence, the imperial study will be your end. Your dear brother, the Minister of War, has already dug a grave waiting for you." Guzhan's fingers, which had been playfully teasing, suddenly froze midair, his silly grin vanishing in an instant. He jerked his head up, his sharp gaze piercing through Su Qingyue. Su Qingyue tightened her grip around the swaddled infant, her heart racing. The couple's eyes clashed fiercely in silence, waves of unspoken turmoil crashing between them. "That scoundrel of a Minister of War," the voice continued its tirade, "has forged your treasonous correspondence. It's hidden in the secret compartment of your study. TSK, the most intricately designed compartment at the very bottom. You thought it was well hidden, but they've already figured it out. Tomorrow, it will be conveniently discovered. The evidence is irrefutable. No room for denial." And then, snip snip, I made a silent chopping motion. The whole family will be doomed. All in perfect unison. Guzhan's complexion turned an alarming shade of ashen, the veins on his forehead throbbing visibly. The secret compartment at the bottom. Only he knew its exact location. The Minister of War, who he regarded as a brother. A chilling rage surged from Guzhan's feet to the crown of his head. He suddenly sprang to his feet. The abrupt motion knocked over a nearby round stool with a loud clatter. "My lord?" Su Qingyue gazed at him, bewildered. Guzhan's chest rose and fell erratically. He inhaled deeply, forcing himself to calm down. "It's nothing." His voice was heavy, tinged with an almost imperceptible malice. Suddenly recalling urgent military matters left unattended in the study, he cast a penetrating glance at his oblivious daughter in the swaddle. That gaze was filled with uncertainty, shock, which ultimately transformed into a profound depth. "Madam, you must rest well." Guzhan turned and strode purposefully out, his back radiating an aura of chilling severity. The door slammed shut behind him. Su Qingyue held me tightly, her heart still racing. She looked down at the peacefully sleeping infant in her arms. Her pink lips slightly puckered, innocent and pure. Who could have imagined? She exhaled softly, clutching her daughter a bit closer. That night, the study of Dingyuan Marquis was ablaze with light until dawn broke. 02, Mother, the soup is poisoned. The afternoon sun shone brightly. Su Qingyue reclined on a soft couch, her complexion still pale, though her spirits had lifted somewhat. I was cradled carefully in her arms. Madam, the head maid, Chun Tao, approached with a sweet white porcelain bowl, her face adorned with a beaming smile. The blood-swallow soup from the kitchen has just finished simmering, enriched with aged ginseng, perfect for restoring your vitality. Please enjoy it while it's hot. The bowl emanated steam, infused with a rich ginseng aroma. Chun Tao, Su Qingyue's devoted handmaiden for years, was particularly attentive. She scooped a spoonful and gently blew on it. Madam, be careful, it's hot. The spoon was brought to Su Qingyue's lips, just as she was about to open her mouth. Mother, don't drink. My internal voice erupted. That soup is poisoned. Su Qingyue's entire body trembled as her lips, about to touch the spoon, clamped shut. That treacherous Chun Tao. She's been bribed by Lady Lu. The soup is laced with slow-acting poison. After drinking it, your health will gradually decline, languishing in bed. In the end, you will die quietly. Lady Lu can then take her rightful place. Her son would be the legitimate heir. A chill shot up Su Qingyue's spine. She gazed at Chun Tao in disbelief. Chun Tao's face still bore the familiar, submissive, and slightly concerned smile. Madam? Seeing Su Qingyue's lack of response, Chun Tao looked puzzled. Is the ginseng flavor too strong? Straw my foot. It's a death sentence. I raged internally. Mother, spill it on her. Drench her face. Su Qingyue's grip around me tightened, her knuckles turning white. She stared at the steaming bowl of soup, then at Chun Tao's seemingly loyal countenance. Could years of master-servant camaraderie truly be overshadowed by Lady Lu's bribery? Her heart felt as if it had been viciously pierced by an ice pick. Su Qingyue squeezed her eyes shut. As her eyes fluttered open once more, all that remained within them was a chilling resolve. She raised her hand, seemingly intending to grasp the bowl, but her wrist suddenly trembled violently. Oh, dear.
Suindra gasped. Clang.
The delicate white porcelain bowl slipped from her grasp, soaring through the air. Scalding ginseng soup splattered onto Chun Tao's skirt and embroidered shoes. The bowl shattered upon striking the ground, shards scattering everywhere.
Ah!
Chun Tao yelped, hopping about in agony, utterly flustered. The soup drenched her garments, leaving them sullied. Madam, please forgive me. Su Qingyue instantly donned a facade of panic and guilt. I was weak and couldn't hold it steady. Her voice trembled, laced with trepidation. Did it burn you? Chun Tao grimaced in pain, yet dared not show an ounce of dissatisfaction on her face. No, it's nothing. I'm tough-skinned. She forced a smile through her discomfort. Such a pity for this exquisite broth. She gazed at the mess of soup and fragments on the ground, a fleeting glimmer of profound regret and sorrow flickering in her eyes. If the soup is gone, then so be it. Su Qingyue leaned against the soft pillow, her tone nonchalant. You may go and change your attire and tend to your burns. She paused, her words carrying an unspoken implication. There's no need to request the kitchen to send more. I have no appetite today. Chun Tao's body stiffened imperceptibly. She quickly lowered her gaze. Yes, madam. She knelt down to gather the shards, her movements slightly frantic. Su Qingyue no longer regarded her. Lowering her head, she gently patted the child in her arms. Her fingertips felt icy. Mother's formidable. I reveled in delight. That was splendid. Scald that wicked woman. Now she won't dare to poison so easily, right? However, Aunt Lu surely has more tricks up her sleeve. Mother, do take care. Su Qingyue listened to her daughter's fierce thoughts, feeling the warmth radiating from the small body in her embrace. The heart, once frozen by betrayal, began to thaw gradually. She silently held me tighter. 03 elder brother. You've been cuckolded. In the garden of the Marquis's residence, beside the waterside pavilion, Gu Yunjing stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was tall and upright as a bamboo shoot, with a handsome visage. Yet at this moment, his brows were slightly furrowed as he gazed at the fish swimming in the pond, appearing lost in thought. A delicate sound of jingling bells approached, accompanied by a waft of fragrant orchids. Brother Zheng, a soft and melodious female voice called out. I was being cradled by the wet nurse under the corridor, immediately perking up my little ears upon hearing the voice. Here it comes, here it comes. My inner alarm rang loudly. Elder brother's death warrant has arrived. The White Lotus heroine, Lin Wanner. Gu Yunjing turned at the sound, and the ice upon his face melted instantly. Wanner, he responded in a gentler tone. Lin Wanner gracefully approached, clad in a moon-white embroidered dress adorned with orchids, her makeup exquisite, and her eyes brimming with affection. Truly, she resembled a delicate and enchanting little white flower. Are you still angry with me? She gazed up at him, her eyes filled with unspoken affection. Her voice tinged with a hint of sorrow. At yesterday's poetry gathering, I did not intend to speak so much with young Master Li. It was merely that he inquired about the poem ode to orchids. Gu Yunjing, witnessing her near-tearful demeanor, felt his heart soften. Wanner, how could I truly be angry with you? He sighed and retrieved a velvet brocade box from his sleeve. Look, I have brought you something. The box opened to reveal a jade pendant of sheep-fat white jade, its texture smooth and flawless, intricately carved with a pair of lotus flowers, a sight that bespoke its considerable worth. A spark of delight ignited in Lin Wanner's eyes. She extended her delicate hand, yearning to touch the jade pendant. Do not touch it. Quickly, brother, take it back. I screamed internally. That pendant is her token of flattery to the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince is the sworn enemy of the Seventh Prince. Brother. The Seventh Prince is the true destined one. You give her the token of your affection, and she'll turn around and present it to the Crown Prince to pledge her loyalty. The Crown Prince's people will wield your jade pendant to frame you for collusion. You could jump into the Yellow River and still not cleanse your name. Gu Yunjing's hand holding the brocade box trembled violently. The warmth on his face froze instantly. His gaze sharpened like a blade, suddenly piercing toward Lin Wana. Startled by his unexpectedly frigid gaze, Lin Wano's outstretched hand froze midair. "Brother Zheng?" she called timidly, her eyes quickly clouding with tears. "What's wrong?" Gu Yunjing fixed his gaze upon her. "Wana, you have allied with the crown prince? Using his token to curry favor with him? Then turning around to frame me for collusion?" A wave of icy dread crawled up his spine. He recalled the previous day's poetry gathering, where Wanner had indeed laughed and conversed merrily with young Masterly, a close aide of the crown prince. At the time, he had merely felt a prick of discomfort. Without delving deeper, "Elder brother, wake up," I urged anxiously. "Her affections are but a facade, aimed solely at using you to approach the crown prince. Her true allegiance lies with the seventh prince's sworn adversary. She is a dagger thrust into your heart." Gu Yunjing closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the turbulent waves within his gaze were forcibly suppressed, leaving only a bottomless, cold abyss. With a decisive snap, he closed the brocade box, his movements crisp and unyielding. Lin Wano's outstretched hand fell empty, awkwardly suspended in midair. "Brother Zheng?" she called, her eyes glistening with tears, her expression one of increased grievance. Gu Yunjing, his face devoid of emotion, withdrew the brocade box into his sleeve. This jade pendant, his voice was cold and hard. "Betraying no emotion, I suddenly feel it unworthy of Wanner's refined nature. I shall seek a more suitable gift for you another day." The color drained from Lin Wano's face, disbelief clouding her features as she stared at Gu Yunjing, unable to comprehend the abrupt shift in his demeanor. "Brother Zheng, did Wanner do something wrong?" Her voice trembled, tears cascading down her cheeks. Gu Yunjing averted his gaze, refusing to meet her tear-streaked face. "You did nothing wrong." He spoke flatly, devoid of any waves of emotion. "It is I who misjudged." He turned away, no longer looking at her. "There are important matters to attend to at the residence. Please, Wanner, feel free." With that, he strode away from the waterside pavilion, his back resolute, devoid of any lingering attachment. Lin Wana stood alone by the water's edge, the traces of tears still visible on her face, yet her gaze gradually grew colder, filled with resentment and bitterness. "Brother, splendidly done," I cheered internally. "Steer clear of this vile woman. Live long and prosper. Though, you might want to work on your expression management." That gaze earlier nearly froze her into a statue. The wet nurse, cradling me, watched the eldest young master's sudden departure with a hint of bewilderment. I grinned widely, revealing my toothless smile, silently laughing. "For second brother, your money is gone." In the west courtyard of the Marquis's residence, at the martial arts training ground, the weapons glimmered coldly. Gu Yunfei, the second son of the Gu family, donned a sharp outfit, practicing with a spear. The silver spear danced like a dragon, slicing through the air with vigor. Sweat trickled down his chiseled jawline. "Well done. Second brother's spear skills have improved remarkably." A voice of praise rang from the sidelines. A young man in a brocade robe, with oiled hair and powdered face, clapped his hands as he approached. It was none other than Zhao Tianbao, the illegitimate son of the Minister of Revenue. Gu Yunfei lowered his spear, slightly breathless, a broad smile illuminating his face. "Tianbao, what brings you here?" Zhao Tianbao familiarly placed his hand on Gu Yunfei's shoulder. "I missed you, Brother Yunfei." He lowered his voice, brimming with mystery and excitement. "Brother, I've just received some monumental news. A fresh batch of spices from the South Seas has arrived at the West Dock. The quality is exceptional, yet the price is ridiculously low. This is a golden opportunity. We should partner up to seize this batch. With a quick resale, we could at least triple our earnings." Gu Yunfei's eyes sparkled with interest. "Is that true?" "Absolutely. I swear it." Zhao Tianbao thumped his chest. "The goods are in the dock warehouse, and I've already inspected them. The seller is eager to sell, needing cash immediately. I'm a bit short on funds, so I can only contribute 5,000 taels. You, Brother Yunfei, can put in 25,000 taels. We'll split the profits evenly. A guaranteed profitable venture. Loss. You'll lose everything." "Second brother," I screamed internally. "That scoundrel Zhao Tianbao is deceiving you. That batch of spices from the South Seas is nothing but moldy goods." treated with sulfur. It looks glossy and smells fragrant, but once it touches water, its true nature is revealed. He has colluded with the seller long ago. Your 25,000 taels of silver have just gone down the drain. He feigns kindness, sharing a bit of profit to placate you, only to turn around and flee. You're left with nothing, and he's out there mocking your foolishness. The smile on Gu Yunfei's face instantly froze. His hand, resting on the gun barrel, tightened suddenly. His knuckles turned white. Zhao Tianbao, oblivious, continued to elaborate on his dreams of wealth. With this money, Brother Yunfei, haven't you always wanted to exchange for a steed from the western regions? And the new head courtesan from the drunken immortal pavilion. Bah! Head courtesan! I internally sneered. Your money has all gone into his pockets. He's using your funds to support a mistress. Mocking you as a foolish rich fool. Gu Yunfei's gaze gradually turned icy. He looked at Zhao Tianbao's animated face. The face he regarded as that of a good brother now appeared utterly hypocritical and nauseating.
Tianbao.
Gu Yunfei suddenly interrupted his incessant chatter. This deal does sound appealing. Zhao Tianbao beamed with delight. Naturally. Would I ever deceive you, brother? A cold, sharp smile curved Gu Yunfei's lips. However, 25,000 taels is quite a substantial sum. I must personally inspect the goods. Zhao Tianbao's smile faltered momentarily. Then he quickly forced it back. Of course. Better to be cautious. The goods are at warehouse number 3 on the dock. I'll accompany you. Right now? There's no rush. Gu Yunfei waved his hand dismissively. He walked over to the weapon rack and picked up a cloth to wipe his sweat, his movements leisurely. I trust you. He looked at Zhao Tianbao. So I'll directly offer 30,000 taels. I'll take it all. Zhao Tianbao's eyes widened in astonishment, elation flooding over him. Brother Yunfei, how generous. His voice trembled with excitement. Yet Gu Yunfei shifted his tone. However, I cannot gather that much cash on short notice. I'll use the property deeds of those 2 bustling shops in the eastern part of the city as collateral. Once the goods are sold, I'll redeem them immediately. Interest will be calculated. What do you say? The exuberance on Zhao Tianbao's face momentarily froze. Property deeds? What he truly desired was hard cash. Gu Yunfei scrutinized him. What's wrong? Do you not trust me, Gu Yunfei? Or doubt the credibility of the Dingyuan Marquis' establishments? You know well how valuable those 2 shops are, in such prime locations. Zhao Tianbao's eyes darted rapidly. The eastern shops. Indeed valuable. Worth much more than 30,000 taels. And, with the endorsement of the Dingyuan Marquis, the goods may be fake, but the shops are real. If he acquires the property deeds, he could sell them at once. Zhao Tianbao's heart raced. Trustworthy? Of course, trustworthy. He immediately agreed. I have complete faith in your character. Brother Yunfei. A glint of icy mockery flickered in Gu Yunfei's eyes.
Good.
Wait here, I'll retrieve the property deeds. Gu Yunfei turned to leave the training ground. Zhao Tianbao watched his departing figure, rubbing his hands together, his face flushed with excitement.
Fool.
I scoffed internally. Those 2 shops were already mortgaged by my father to the Ministry of Finance to cover last year's military payroll deficit. Property deeds? Just a piece of scrap paper. The ministry has already recorded it. Just wait until you try to transfer the ownership with that fake deed. He. Half an hour later, Zhao Tianbao, brimming with enthusiasm, strode away clutching 2 freshly inked property deeds. Gu Yunfei stood by the training ground, his expression inscrutable. In his hand, he held a copy of the debt acknowledgement document he had just taken from his father's study. The document clearly listed the names and locations of the mortgage shops, exactly the ones he had pledged to Zhao Tianbao.
Ha!
Gu Yunfei let out a cold laugh. He crumpled the document into a tight ball and casually tossed it into the nearby water vat. The paper ball quickly soaked up the water and sank. Well done, second brother. Returning the favor in kind. I internally applauded. Now that scoundrel, Zhao Tianbao, has nowhere to cry. He still thinks he can swindle my second brother's money? Let him pay for the counterfeit goods and suffer losses. 05 Third brother, your name is gone. As night deepened, silence enveloped the surroundings. In the study of the small courtyard on the east side of the Marquis' residence, the lights remained bright. The silhouette of a slender boy hunched over a desk, diligently studying, was cast upon the paper. This was Gu's third son, Gu Yunlang. At 16, he had just completed the autumn imperial examination. At this moment, he was facing a meticulously copied examination paper, his brow knitted in concentration as he scrutinized the text repeatedly. "Something's not right," he murmured, his fingers tracing a particular passage. "The allusion cited here seems erroneous, and this line of argumentation seems to lack something." He rubbed his throbbing temples in frustration. Could it be that I remembered incorrectly? Yet in the examination hall, I distinctly felt that I had performed adequately.
He sighed.
Pushing the paper aside and reaching for another volume he intended to review. "Third brother, you didn't remember incorrectly," I urged anxiously. "Your paper has been swapped." "It was that scoundrel Zhou Tong from the National Academy. He bribed the scribe to switch your paper with his. Now you're holding this nonsensical piece, which belongs to him. Your brilliant essay bears his name. On the day of the results, he will be the one celebrated. And you, Gu Yunlang, will be the laughingstock of the failed candidates. He will soar to greatness on the back of your hard work, and you remain oblivious, thinking you performed poorly. It's infuriating." Gu Yunlang's grip on the paper tightened suddenly. His knuckles turned white from the force. Swapped papers. Zhou Tong, that classmate who usually treated him with courtesy and even a hint of flattery. A wave of icy rage surged through him. He abruptly stood up. The sudden movement caused the chair behind him to topple over.
Crash.
The chair hit the ground with a resounding thud, startling the night watchman outside. "Third young master? Are you all right?" The attendant called from outside the door. Gu Yunlang's chest heaved violently. He fixed his piercing gaze on the examination paper on the table, his eyes sharp enough to burn through it. "I'm fine." His voice was hoarse and strained. I accidentally knocked over the chair. He forced himself to regain composure. Must not act rashly. Must not alert the serpent hidden in the grass. Taking a deep breath, he bent down to right the chair and returned to the desk. He picked up the paper once more, this time scrutinizing it meticulously, word by word. The more he read, the colder his heart became. The flaws were too numerous. The style was wrong. The penmanship was off. The obscure references were riddled with errors. This could not possibly be Gu Yunlang's work. What had previously felt like a vague suspicion now crystallized into clarity under the guidance of his inner voice. Flaws everywhere, strikingly evident. A fiery indignation, feeling mocked and robbed, ignited within his chest. He slammed the paper shut. His eyes glinted with fury. "Third brother, don't be angry," I quickly reassured him. "It's not too late to discover this now. The chief examiner, Elder Su, detests cheating in examinations. And he is in the residence tonight. Father is entertaining him. Quickly, take your draft and your usual writings. Expose that Zhou scoundrel on the spot. Elder Su has sharp eyes. He LLC through the deception immediately." Gu Yunlang's eyes lit up suddenly. Elder Su is in the residence. No longer hesitating, he yanked open the drawer and pulled out a thick stack of draft papers filled with his writings, along with several of his proudest works. Clutching them tightly in his hand, he flung open the study door and dashed out with great strides. His form was as swift as the wind, merging seamlessly into the night. His target, the grand hall where his father was entertaining esteemed guests. "Charge forth, third brother. Reclaim your honor." I silently rallied my spirits. Let that thief of literary works be utterly disgraced. Laughter filled the room. In the warm parlor, the heated Kong burned vigorously.
Swathed
in a soft swaddling cloth, as she sat in a rocking chair adorned with thick brocade cushions. Gu Zhen occupied a grand chair beside her, engrossed in a military treatise, though his gaze frequently wandered in our direction. Gu Yunjin was by the window, meticulously polishing his treasured sword. Gu Yunfei lounged with one leg crossed over the other, cracking walnuts with a crisp sound. Gu Yunlang, in contrast, sat by a small table in the corner. A book spread before him, but his eyes seemed distant, lost in thought. The atmosphere was imbued with a subtly poignant silence, broken only by the sound of me nibbling on my own fingers, smacking softly. As I indulged in my delightful habit, I suddenly sensed several pairs of eyes fixated upon me. I halted, my wide, glistening eyes surveying the room. Father, mother, eldest brother, second brother, and third brother, all were gazing at me with peculiar expressions. There was curiosity, gratitude, and was that a suppressed laugh? What are you looking at? I mused inwardly. Is there something on my face? Or perhaps my finger nibbling is too dashing. Su Qingyue's lips curled upwards, unable to suppress her mirth. She quickly lowered her head, gently rubbing her cheek against my forehead to conceal her amusement. Gu Zhen cleared his throat, redirecting his focus back to the military text. Though it appeared he was holding it upside down. Gu Yunjin polished his sword with increased fervor, its blade gleaming ominously. Gu Yunfei crunched on the walnut meat, the sound echoing through the room. Gu Yunlang pretended to turn a page in his book, yet his shoulders shook with suppressed laughter. What is going on? I pondered, somewhat bewildered. Everyone is acting so mysteriously, like a bunch of sneaky mice. But my thoughts began to swirl. It seems the crisis is past. Mother hasn't consumed the poison soup, and father's secret compartment in the study is empty. Eldest brother's jade pendant remains unsent, and second brother's money is safe. Third brother has regained his honor. Are we all safe? No need to report to the marketplace in an orderly fashion. How splendid! The more I reflected, the more my spirit soared. Unable to contain my joy, I broke into a toothless grin, giggling with abandon as drool trickled down my chin. Looking rather foolish. Within the warm parlor, Gu Zhen, who had been striving to maintain his composure, began to shake suspiciously. He abruptly raised the military text and buried his face in it. Su Qingyue, holding me, trembled slightly, burying her face in the milk-scented swaddling cloth, muffled laughter escaping her. By the window, Gu Yunjin could no longer contain himself and swiftly turned away, his shoulders shaking. Ha ha ha. Gu Yunfei slapped his thigh, laughing heartily. So amusing. Reporting to the marketplace in an orderly fashion, ha ha. Gu Yunlang also succumbed to the laughter, setting down his book and pressing a hand to his forehead, his shoulders shaking in mirth. The parlor was suffused with an atmosphere of joyous exuberance. The family laughed until they were breathless, while I lay in my mother's embrace, watching their inexplicable laughter with a bewildered expression. What are they laughing about? I wondered, confused. Is there truly something on my face? Or is my drooling an artistic expression?
Oh well.
I abandoned my contemplation and continued merrily nibbling on my fingers. 07 The Crown Prince has been attacked. Days passed, and the Marquisate was enveloped in tranquility. I had become the undeniable apple of the family's eye. The moment father returned from court, his first act was to scoop me into his arms, rubbing his stubbly chin against my face, tickling me into fits of giggles. Father, your beard pricks. I protest. I silently howled. Gu Zhen immediately fumbled to hold me at arm's length. All right, father 1T prick my little lucky star. Mother's gaze upon me was imbued with such tenderness it seemed it could drip with affection. Each day, she personally fed me milk. Mother smells so delightful. I nestled closer, content. Su Qingyue's smile grew warmer. Eldest brother Gu Yunjin had become rather taciturn, yet his gaze was constantly fixed on me in the cradle, filled with curiosity and reverence. Eldest brother, don't be so serious. I blew bubbles at him. A smile adds years to your life. Gu Yunjin awkwardly tugged at the corners of his mouth, looking more pained than amused. Second brother Gu Yunfei had transformed into an ardent promoter of his sister. Look. My sister. Such a noble forehead. Clearly destined for wealth and grandeur. Listen. My sister is laughing. Like silver bells. More melodious than the top performer at the Drunken Immortal Pavilion. Second brother. Enough. I face-bombed inwardly. That metaphor is perilous. Gu Yunfei immediately fell silent, sheepishly scratching his head. Third brother Gu Yunlang had achieved the status of the newly appointed top scholar, personally endorsed by Elder Su. The way he looked at me was akin to gazing at a resplendent little deity. Third brother, keep it up. The top honor is beckoning you. I cheered him on. Gu Yunlang nodded vigorously, redoubling his efforts in his studies. On this day, the royal family held a spring hunt, and naturally, the Marquis of Dingyuan was included in the entourage. I was deemed too small to accompany them and was left in the palace's side garden under the care of mother and the wet nurse. Outside, the sound of drums and music filled the air, accompanied by the thunderous hoofbeats of horses. I lay in my cradle, utterly bored. How dull.
I yawned.
Surely the crown prince is being attacked now. In the dense forest at the southeast corner of the hunting grounds. The assassins disguised as Imperial guards are concealed within the convoy transporting the game. They wield poison darts. One shot to the throat. Beside my cradle, Su Qingyue, who was gently fanning me, suddenly jerked her wrist, nearly dropping the fan. Her complexion turned ashen in an instant. The crown prince has been attacked. At the hunting grounds, she sprang to her feet.
Someone! Quick!
Fetch the marquis. This is urgent. We must act swiftly. 08 A heartfelt call to save the crown prince. At the southeast corner of the hunting grounds, on the edge of the dense forest, banners waved and drums sounded loudly. The crown prince, clad in bright yellow riding attire, sat proudly atop a magnificent steed, exuding vigor and confidence. Gu Zhen, as one of the imperial bodyguards, rode closely alongside the crown prince, his sharp eyes scanning the surroundings vigilantly. A squad of imperial guards was escorting several carts filled with freshly hunted deer and antelopes. Emerging from the forest, the wheels rattled as they approached the crown prince, the formation orderly, and the armor gleaming. Gu Zhen's gaze swept over the soldiers, who bowed their heads, but he detected nothing amiss. Just then, the specially crafted thin jade piece concealed against his body began to emit a slight warmth. Gu Zhen's pupils contracted sharply. This was the talisman his wife had given him that morning, cautioning him. If the jade piece grew warm, a significant event was imminent. He must remain alert. At that moment, he had chuckled at his wife's overcaution.
But now,
the jade was burning alarmingly hot. He abruptly lifted his head, his gaze sharp as lightning, fixating on the approaching convoy. The soldier at the forefront, pushing the cart, kept his head bowed, his steps steady. Yet Gu Zhen's battlefield instincts screamed at him. There was an aura of lethal intent. A subtle, yet deadly hostility emanated from that individual, directly targeting the crown prince. Gu Zhen's muscles tensed instantly. His hand was already resting on the hilt of his sword. Almost simultaneously, a youthful and urgent voice seemed to explode in his mind.
To the left.
Behind the pillar, the soldier pushing the cart. That's him. Poison darts. Father.
Stop him.
He about to strike.
To the left.
The soldier pushing the cart. Gu Zhen's nerves were stretched to their utmost. He observed with clarity. At the very moment when the soldier, jolted by the carriage, leaned slightly forward, his right hand, hanging at his side, rose with astonishing swiftness from a concealed angle. The glint of cold steel flashed from his sleeve, aimed directly at the prince's heart. Protect the prince. Gu Zhen's furious roar echoed like thunder, reverberating throughout the hunting grounds. He leaped from his horse, soaring through the air like a giant eagle in flight, bearing down with immense force upon the soldier pushing the cart. A resounding thud followed as Gu Zhen's iron-like frame collided with the assassin, sending him sprawling. The two tumbled to the ground, while the assassin's cold blade vanished from sight. A dark arrow, sharp and deadly, buried itself into the yoke of a nearby cart laden with game, the fletching quivering ominously. Laced with poison, it could seal one's fate with a mere drop of blood. The entire scene unfolded in the blink of an eye, too swift for anyone to react. Only then did the surrounding Imperial guards awaken from their stupor, shouting in alarm, "An assassin! Protect the prince!
Seize him!"
The clamor of unsheathed swords, furious shouts, and the thunder of galloping hooves erupted in a cacophony. The atmosphere grew chaotic. The prince's complexion turned ashen, his heart racing with terror. In that fleeting moment, the specter of death loomed so near. He gazed at the assassin, now pinned beneath Gu Zhen, thrashing wildly, then cast his eyes upon the arrow embedded in the cart, its eerie blue sheen glinting ominously. A cold sweat drenched his back in an instant. In the imperial residence, the atmosphere was thick enough to wring water from it. The royal physician, the commander of the imperial guards, and high-ranking ministers crowded the front hall. The prince, having changed out of his riding attire, still bore a pallid complexion. Though his gaze remained sharp, he inquired in detail about the capture of the assassin. Gu Zhen knelt on one knee, his voice solemn as he reported. This humble servant detected an unusual demeanor in the soldier pushing the cart, a hint of murderous intent. Just as I approached to investigate, he erupted into violence. Fortunately, I managed to subdue him in time, causing the poisoned arrow to veer off course, sparing His Highness from harm. Gu Zhen's account was meticulous, omitting any mention of the heated jade piece or the heart-stopping thoughts that had raced through him. The prince listened quietly, his fingers unconsciously tracing the smooth surface of a dragon-patterned jade pendant at his waist. His gaze lingered on Gu Zhen, imbued with profound scrutiny. Dingyuan Ho, your valor in saving my life today shall not be forgotten. A generous reward is in order. Thank you, your highness. Gu Zhen bowed deeply. The prince waved his hand, dismissing the others until only Gu Zhen remained. Alone in the hall, the prince rose and walked to the window, observing the tranquil scene in the courtyard below, where Su Qingyue strolled with a small infant cradled in her arms. Sunlight bathed them in a serene glow. The prince's gaze settled on the swaddled infant for a long moment. Gu Qing, he suddenly spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I am curious as to why you focused on that soldier pushing the cart today. The Imperial Guard's transporting game is a common occurrence. What alerted your instincts? Gu Zhen's heart skipped a beat. Bowing his head, he replied steadily, replying to your highness, it was merely an instinct. Instinct? The prince turned, a faint smile gracing his lips, though his eyes remained sharp as a blade. Such a remarkable instinct. My life hangs by a thread on your intuition, Gu Qing. A cold sweat broke out on Gu Zhen's back. This humble servant is terrified. The prince stepped closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I have also heard that this esteemed lady of yours, just a month old, possesses certain extraordinary qualities? Gu Zhen's head snapped up, colliding with the prince's fathomless gaze. As if he could see through to his very soul. A chill coursed through him, from his feet to the crown of his head. How could the prince know? Gu Zhen's throat tightened, his palms slick with sweat. Your highness, he stammered. The prince raised a hand, silencing him. His gaze returned to the window, resting on Su Qingyue and the small, innocent child in her arms. His expression was complex, filled with surprise, shock, and disbelief, ultimately morphing into an indescribable warmth. Do not be anxious, Gu Qing, the prince reassured, his demeanor softening once more. I merely feel he paused, enunciating each word clearly. This woman holds a connection with me. Gu Zhen's heart plummeted. 1 month later, in the warm hall of the Dingyuan Ho residence, the atmosphere was tinged with an unusual tension. I lay nestled in a cradle adorned with soft brocade, kicking my little legs with determination. Surrounding me was a circle of concerned faces. My father, Gu Zhen, my mother, Su Qingyue, my elder brother, Gu Yunjin, my second brother, Gu Yunfei, and my third brother, Gu Yunling. Each bore a taut expression, as if bracing for battle. For before them sat a figure who should not be present, none other than the crown prince, Xiao Jinghang. Clad in moon-white robes, he exuded an air of nobility. Yet at this moment, he bore no pretense. In his hand, he held a resplendent rattle, adorned with jewels, and was amusingly engaging with me in the cradle. Little lucky star, look over here. The rattle chimed with a clear, crisp sound. I blinked my wide eyes, curiously fixated on the dazzling object.
Wow.
A golden rattle. I marveled internally. That must be worth quite a sum, right? Is the crown prince really just a foolish spendthrift? The prince's playful gestures hesitated for a moment, a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. Su Qingyue anxiously observed her daughter, then glanced at the prince, her palms sweating. Gu Zhen's muscles tensed, ready to respond to any sudden turn of events. Yet the prince appeared oblivious to the tension. He set the rattle aside and picked up a delicate jade bell, giving it a gentle shake. The melodious sound rang out. The sound is pleasant, I assessed. The jade quality is decent as well. But compared to the sheep-fat jade paperweight in my father's study, it seems to lack a bit of refinement. Gu Zhen's eyelids twitched violently. The jade paperweight in the study was his secret treasure. How could the prince know? He shot a glance at the prince, who maintained a calm demeanor, though the laughter in his eyes deepened. He set down the jade bell and leaned closer to the cradle, his handsome face magnified before me. He regarded me, and I returned his gaze, our eyes locked in a silent stare. What is this? I wondered internally. Trying to charm this baby with your looks? Though I must admit, you are rather handsome. The amusement in the prince's eyes intensified, nearly spilling over. He extended a finger, seemingly about to touch my cheek. The 4 Gu family members surrounding the cradle collectively held their breath. Gu Yunjin's hand had already moved to his waist, though no sword was present. Gu Yunfei clenched his fists, while Gu Yunling held his breath. Gu Zhen stepped forward, tension electrifying the air. Just as the prince's finger was about to graze my cheek, he halted. He gazed into my innocent eyes and suddenly spoke in a low voice, barely audible, laced with a subtle allure. Little lucky star, tell me when my seventh brother will rebel?
Boom.
This question struck like a thunderbolt above the heads of the Gu family. Su Qingyue's face turned ashen in an instant. Gu Zhen's pupils constricted. The three Gu brothers were left aghast. The crown prince inquired about the seventh prince's rebellion. Was this something that could be overheard? This was tantamount to condemning their entire clan. It was over. Despair gripped the hearts of the Gu family. In the cradle, I stared blankly at the prince's handsome face. My little mouth agape as I let out a big yawn.
Yawn.
So sleepy. Rebel. What rebellion? He*s busy with disaster relief in Jiangnan, winning the people's hearts. When would he have time to plot rebellion? Your Highness, do you suffer from paranoia? Don't disturb me. My eyelids began to droop, and my small head tilted slightly. In the suffocating silence of the room, under the terrified gazes of the Gu family, and ensnared in the prince's inscrutable gaze, I sweetly succumbed to slumber, even managing to emit a soft smacking of my lips. Within the warm chamber, the sound of a pin dropping could be heard, leaving only the sound of my even, delicate breaths. The prince slowly straightened his posture, gazing at the peacefully sleeping infant in the cradle, before sweeping his gaze over the pallid faces of the Gu family members. After a prolonged silence, he suddenly let out a low, amused chuckle, breaking the oppressive stillness. How amusing! Truly amusing. He cast one last glance at my slumbering form before turning away, his moon-white silhouette drifting away, leaving the Gu family in stunned silence, drenched in cold sweat. A chill swept through the air as the wind blew. Zzz. I slept soundly, blissfully unaware that I'd just flirted with the brink of death. The prince had set his sights on me. With his departure, the warm chamber fell into a deathly silence. Gu Zhen's back was completely soaked. Did he hear? Su Qingyue's voice trembled. He must have heard. Gu Yunfei's complexion turned pale. The matter of the seventh prince weighed heavily on Gu Yunjing's mind. His inquiry had been so direct. Gu Yunlang felt a lingering dread. I rolled over, continuing my delightful slumber. Oh, the prince is truly bothersome. Quiet, the baby is sleeping. The entire family. Gu Zhen wiped the cold sweat from his brow. Trouble arises from careless words. He warned in a hushed tone. Henceforth, in front of Fu Bao, all must speak with caution. Not a single word should be carelessly uttered. The family nodded frantically, their eyes filled with fear as they glanced at the cradle. This little ancestor, with a mere utterance, could condemn whole clans. Father, it's so noisy. I mumbled. Gu Zhen immediately fell silent. The entire family held their breath, fearful of awakening me and provoking another earth-shattering proclamation. Sleeping is so comfortable. I smacked my lips. In my dreams, there's no foolish prince. The family is the prince a foolish prince? Can such words be uttered? Su Qingyue quickly patted me gently. Good child, sleep well, she silently prayed. Please don't say anything more, ancestor. The next day, the prince's gifts poured into the marquis's residence like a flowing river. Golden treasures and exquisite silks filled half the courtyard. The crown prince remarked, as the eunuch smiled broadly, that these were mere trinkets for the little county princess to play with. The family gazed at the casually bestowed treasures, their eyelids twitching. The crown prince had also mentioned, as the eunuch leaned closer to Gu Zhen, that he would visit the little county princess again. Gu Zhen's heart raced. He*s coming again. After the eunuch left, Gu Zhen surveyed the courtyard overflowing with gifts, his brow furrowed deeply. A weasel wishing the chickens a happy new year. Gu Yunfei scoffed. It's a blatant display of flattery. Gu Yunlang frowned, his gaze fixated on Fu Bao. Gu Yunzheng spoke coldly. Su Qingyue's worry deepened as she tightened her hold on me.
Wow.
So shiny. My heart leapt with joy. That golden collar. So large. Would it break my neck if I wore it? The family. Is this really the focus? That jade-carved little rabbit. So adorable. I want to nibble on it. Su Qingyue quickly moved the jade rabbit further away. Good child, you cannot nibble on this. Oh. I felt a bit disappointed. Though the prince is foolish. His gifts are quite generous. The family gasped in shock. Again, they scolded the prince for being foolish. Gu Zhen hastily gestured. Quickly. Store it all away. Lock it in the storeroom. Not a single item should be allowed for Fubao to play with. We cannot provoke him. We must avoid him. At the palace banquet, the dreaded moment arrived. During the queen's birthday celebration, the noble women brought their daughters to the palace to pay their respects, specifically requesting to see the auspicious little county princess. Su Qingyue held me tightly, her palms slick with sweat. Gu Zhen's expression was grave, ready to act. If Fubao spoke, they must cover her mouth. In the Fengyi Palace, adorned with flowers and fragrant aromas, the queen smiled gracefully. The prince sat at the lower table, his gaze drifting toward me with an inscrutable intensity. So many people. I curiously peered around. The scent of powder is so strong, Achu. Su Qingyue quickly patted my back. The little county princess is truly lovely, the queen remarked with a smile. Bring her closer for me to see. Su Qingyue's heart raced as she carefully handed me over. The queen embraced me, and the overwhelming fragrance made my head spin. Don't feel dizzy. I scrunched my little face. What kind of cheap perfume is this? Suffocating mosquitoes. The queen's body stiffened as she held me, her smile faltering. The prince coughed lightly, his shoulders suspiciously shaking. It seems the little county princess is shy. The queen quickly regained her composure and returned me to Su Qingyue. Just as Su Qingyue let out a sigh of relief, the prince suddenly spoke. Mother, I observe that the little county princess is quite astute. Why not? His gaze fell upon me. Allow the imperial astronomer to read her fate. To see how blessed she is. The entire hall fell into an instant silence. To read her fate? And to have the imperial astronomer personally do it? Such an honor. Su Qingyue's face turned pale. Gu Zhen's fists clenched tightly. This is putting Fubao on the hot seat. Read her fate. I pondered internally. Will it determine if I can live past 3 years old? No need to calculate. My fate is in my own hands, not heaven's. I am a transmigrator. There's a script. Su Qingyue, holding me, trembled slightly, nearly dropping me. The prince's eyes sparkled. Transmigrated? Script? Indeed. A confident smile curved his lips. It's settled then. Summon the imperial astronomer. The imperial astronomer was bewildered. An elderly man with a white beard arrived trembling, holding my birth date, extending his fingers to slowly calculate. His brows furrowed deeper with each calculation, and sweat began to bead on his forehead due to the tension. This fate, he murmured. Purple energy comes from the east, unparalleled in nobility, yet shrouded in mystery. Could there be a hidden celestial design? He looked up at me, his gaze filled with uncertainty. Old man, stop calculating. I internally scoffed. You can't figure it out. I'm a bug. The imperial astronomer's hand trembled. He nearly pulled out his own beard. His eyes widened in shock, fixating on me as if he had seen a ghost. What are you staring at? I replied, slightly annoyed. Have you never seen such an adorable bug? The imperial astronomer stuttered, his lips trembling. Your Highness, the little county princess's fate is too peculiar. This old man is too shallow in knowledge to fathom it. He suddenly knelt down, drenched in sweat. The prince's gaze was profound. Unable to decipher? Is it unparalleled nobility? Or a harbinger of chaos? His voice bore an air of pressure. The imperial astronomer's head hit the ground. Noble. Extremely noble. But the celestial design cannot be fully discerned. This old man is terrified. The prince remained silent for a moment before waving his hand. You may leave. The imperial astronomer felt as if a weight had been lifted, scrambling to escape. The queen appeared pensive. The prince's gaze remained fixed on me, more fervent than before, as if he were beholding a rare treasure. Ugh, that gaze. I thought to myself, as if he wants to dissect me for research. Terrifying. Mother, run. Su Qingyue hastily tightened her hold on me. Your Majesty, Your Highness, Fubao is tired. I shall take my leave. Gu Zhen immediately stepped forward, shielding his wife and daughter, fleeing the Fengyi Palace, as if in a panic. The prince did not stop them, merely watching their retreating figures, his fingers gently tapping the table. Fubao, the secrets you possess, I must uncover. In the stillness of the night, I was soundly asleep. Zzz. Chicken leg. A faint rustle emanated from the window frame. A shadow, akin to a specter, silently crept into my chamber. The figure approached the cradle, gazing intently at me, who was deep in slumber. It was the crown prince. He extended his hand, seemingly attempting to caress my face. Who? I jolted awake. Is there a thief? A flower thief. One who kidnaps children. The crown prince froze mid-motion. A flower thief? Kidnapping children? His lips twitched in disbelief. Mother. Father. Save me. I screamed internally. There's a villain. In the adjacent room, Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue were instantaneously roused. Fu Bao. Su Qingyue exclaimed. Gu Zhen seized his sword from the bedside and rushed over.
Bang!
He kicked the door open, the sword's tip aimed directly at the shadow by the cradle. Who goes there? The shadow slowly turned. Moonlight illuminated his face. Gu Zhen nearly lost his grip on the sword. Your Highness the Crown Prince. Su Qingyue was equally stunned. The Crown Prince? Intruding upon a baby's chamber at night. The Crown Prince cleared his throat, hands clasped behind his back. Striving to maintain an air of authority. I happened to pass by and heard the little princess murmuring in her dreams. I thought to take a look. Passing by, at such a late hour, near the infant's room, Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue exchanged glances, their expressions laden with incredulity. What a farce! I inwardly scoffed. Clearly, he came to eavesdrop. He wishes to glean information from my dreams. Such a scheming boy. The Crown Prince's facade began to falter. Ahem. Since there is nothing amiss, I shall take my leave. He almost fled in haste, his retreat somewhat disheveled. Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue shared a bemused look, observing the indignant me in the cradle. This life was becoming unbearable. 16 The Emperor, too, was intrigued by the Crown Prince's midnight escapade. Somehow, the tale reached his ears, piquing his interest. He summoned my father to bring the auspicious little princess into the palace. In the imperial study, the atmosphere was solemn. The emperor sat upon the dragon throne, his authoritative gaze fixed upon me. I gnawed at my fingers. Is the dragon throne made of gold? Can I gnaw on it? Gu Zhen, holding me, trembled slightly, nearly kneeling. There is no need for such formalities, Gu Qing, the emperor spoke. Is this the auspicious one the crown prince mentioned? Bring her closer, let me have a look. Su Qingyue, with trepidation, carried me to the imperial desk. The emperor scrutinized me while I gazed back at him with curiosity. The old emperor. More pleasant to behold than the crown prince. At least he doesn't possess that calculating gaze. The emperor paused, stroking his beard, a flicker of surprise crossing his eyes. Little girl, are you not afraid of me? Afraid of what? I rolled my eyes internally. You won't eat children. The emperor's astonishment deepened. Suddenly, he took on a playful demeanor, lifting a dragon-shaped jade pendant from the desk and waving it before me. Do you like it? I do. It's shiny. My eyes sparkled. Valuable. The emperor chuckled. Quite the honest one. Gu Qing, he turned to Gu Zhen. Your daughter possesses a certain charm. Gu Zhen was drenched in cold sweat. I am overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by what? I was puzzled. The emperor is praising me. Father is truly timid. Gu Zhen. The emperor burst into hearty laughter. Good. What a delightful timid one. Gu Zhen's legs nearly buckled, almost causing him to kneel. The emperor's amusement only grew. Enough, you have seen her. Rewards await. Another heap of treasures was bestowed. Su Qingyue held me, expressing gratitude, just as relief washed over her. The emperor, seemingly casually, inquired, little auspicious one. Which of my sons do you think is the most promising?
Boom.
Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue's minds buzzed with alarm. Here it comes again. The life-threatening question. The entire family held their breath, staring intently at me. Which one is promising? I tilted my little head. The crown prince? Too clever. The second prince? Too rash. The third prince? Too gloomy. The fourth prince? Too foolish. The fifth prince? Too young. Can't tell. As for the seventh prince. The family's heart stopped. The emperor leaned forward slightly, his gaze sharp. The seventh prince is currently, I yawned. Still in Jiangnan munching on flatbreads, you know. How pitiful. However, a phoenix munching on flatbreads is still a phoenix after all. He will soar into the skies eventually. So sleepy. I concluded, my head tilting as I drifted back to sleep. In the imperial study, an eerie silence ensued. The emperor's smile vanished, his gaze deep as the ocean. His fingers tapped rhythmically against the armrest of the dragon throne. Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue appeared ashen. It was over. This time, it was truly over. 17. The seventh prince returned to the capital. With the flood in Jiangnan having subsided, the accomplished seventh prince, Xiao Jingyan, was summoned back to the palace to report. The emperor regarded his weary yet dignified son with a complex expression. Jiangnan must have been arduous. It was my duty as a son, Xiao Jingyan replied, his voice clear and steady. I was being held by my mother in the imperial garden, enjoying the fresh air. That voice. Somewhat familiar. Like the seventh prince. Su Qingwei gasped. She hurriedly attempted to take me away. It was too late. The emperor and the seventh prince's entourage rounded the artificial hill, encountering us face to face. Greetings, your majesty, your highness the seventh prince.
Suinjue hurriedly bowed.
No need for formalities. The emperor's gaze fell upon me. The little auspicious one has also come? Xiao Jingyan's eyes shifted to me. His gaze was pure, tinged with curiosity.
Wow.
The real deal. I felt a surge of excitement. The living seventh prince. The future emperor. Much more handsome than in the portraits. I must cling to his coattails. I must do so early. Xiao Jingyan. A flicker of confusion crossed his eyes. Future emperor? Cling to coattails? The emperor's gaze shifted slightly. Jingyan, this is the little princess of the Dingyuan Marquis family. Quite perceptive. Would you like to hold her? Xiao Jingyan paused, but complied, carefully taking me from Su Qingyue's arms. His movements were somewhat stiff, yet gentle. Even more handsome up close. I swooned internally. His eyes resemble the emperor's, and his nose takes after his deceased mother. No wonder so many young ladies later became infatuated with him. Xiao Jingyan's body stiffened suddenly. He looked down at me in disbelief. The mention of his late mother was a taboo topic within the palace. How could this little infant know? Oh dear. I suddenly recalled something. Almost forgot. On his journey back to the capital, he will encounter mountain bandits. At Luoying Gorge, 30 miles west of the city. The timing seems to be tomorrow. The leader, the scar-faced man, is from the second prince's faction. They plan to seize his disaster relief account book. To eliminate him. Xiao Jingyan's grip around me tightened suddenly. His pupils trembled. Mountain bandits. Second brother. Account book. He abruptly looked up at the emperor. The emperor's expression mirrored his turmoil. Yet the old fox maintained his composure. What troubles you, Jingyan? Is the little princess too heavy? Xiao Jingyan inhaled deeply, forcing himself to remain calm.
No.
I merely find the little princess exceptionally adorable. He gazed down at me, his expression immensely complex. Shock, inquiry, and a hint of gratitude? No need to thank me. I felt grand. When you become emperor, just ensure to protect my family. My father, mother, and brothers are all good people. Do not let them meet a tragic fate like in the original story. Xiao Jingyan. He almost threw me out. To become an emperor? What nonsense is this? The emperor coughed heavily. Enough, Jingyan. You have traveled a long way. Return to the residence and rest. Yes, father. Xiao Jingyan sighed in relief, hastily retreating into Su Qingyue's embrace, as if cradling a scalding hot potato. He made a hasty exit, his back appearing somewhat flustered. The emperor observed his retreating figure, then turned his gaze towards me, his eyes deep and inscrutable. Mission accomplished. I felt a sense of triumph within. Legitimate warning dispatched successfully. Awaiting the seventh prince's ascension. A leisurely victory.
Suinjue elmetaitli.
Her legs feeling weak. Ancestor, this warning of yours is utterly terrifying. News of the crown prince's forced marriage reached us, alongside the report of an attack on the seventh prince. Thankfully, there were no casualties. The ambushing bandits were apprehended in a sweeping operation. It was said that the seventh prince had anticipated the threat. The emperor was furious and ordered a thorough investigation, resulting in the second prince being reprimanded and placed under house arrest. The court was in turmoil. The crown prince could no longer remain idle and arrived at the Ho residence. This time, he was straightforward. Gu Qing. I wished to adopt the little county princess as my goddaughter, bestowing upon her the title of princess with the privileges of a prince. What say you? Gu Zhen and Su Qingyue were utterly stunned. Adopt a goddaughter? Bestow a princess title. How old is the crown prince? This is against propriety. He clearly intends to bind Fu Bao to himself for close surveillance. Your Highness, this is not in accordance with etiquette. Gu Zhen knelt. Fu Bao is still young and of limited fortune. She cannot bear such affection from your highness. The crown prince's expression darkened. Is it that Gu Qing is unwilling? The pressure was immense. Gu Zhen's forehead broke into a sweat. Humph. I scoffed inwardly. Want to be my godfather? Dream on. I would rather be your godmother. The entire family. The crown prince. His face turned pale. Godmother. This little imp. Gu Yunfei couldn't hold back and let out a laugh. The crown prince shot him a glare, and Gu Yunfei quickly lowered his head, his shoulders shaking uncontrollably.
Gu Zhen.
Steeling himself, spoke. Fu Bao speaks without a filter. The crown prince took a deep breath, gazing at me in the cradle, innocently gnawing on my fingers. For the first time, he felt a profound sense of helplessness. He could neither scold nor strike me, and I constantly vexed him. Forget it. The crown prince waved his sleeve and declared, "This matter shall be discussed later." He stormed off, his back radiating fury. I blew bubbles at his retreating figure. This will drive you mad. The entire family, ancestor. Please do not add fuel to the fire. As the dust settled and time flew by, 3 years passed. The emperor fell gravely ill, and the court was in chaos as the struggle between the crown prince and the 7th prince intensified. Ultimately, with the support of the Dingyuan Ho residents and certain officials, the 7th prince Xiao Jingyan, employing decisive measures, took control of the capital. The crown prince was deposed and confined to the ancestral hall. Before the emperor's passing, he bestowed the throne upon the 7th prince. The new emperor ascended the throne, and the Dingyuan Ho residents received even greater favor than before. Gu Yunzheng became the captain of the imperial guards, Gu Yunfei took charge of the imperial merchants, and Gu Yunling excelled in the imperial examinations, entering the Hamlin Academy. As for me, Gu Fubao, I became a frequent visitor to the palace. In the imperial garden, I scampered along with my short legs, chasing a butterfly. The new emperor, Xiao Jingyan, donned in his everyday attire, watched me with a smile. Fubao, slow down. Brother Jingyan. I rushed forward and hugged his leg. Great emperor. I flattered inwardly. Are there osmanthus cakes today? Xiao Jingyan chuckled, bending down to lift me into his arms. Little glutton, he pinched my cheek, his gaze filled with affection.
Yes.
There are plenty.
Yay.
The great emperor is the best. I cheered. 1,000 times better than the foolish crown prince. Xiao Jingyan's smile deepened. In the distance, Gu Zhen and Su Qingwei watched with helpless expressions. This girl treats the palace like her home, showing no regard for propriety. Gu Yunzheng, clad in military attire, stood guard nearby, his gaze gentle. Gu Yunfei leaned in. Father, mother, do you think Fu Bao's sentiments reach his majesty? Gu Zhen and Su Qingwei were momentarily taken aback. Glancing over, Xiao Jingyan was patiently feeding me osmanthus cakes, his movements natural as if he had done it 1,000 times before. Gu Zhen shook his head slowly. The majesty of heaven is unpredictable. Whether he hears or not, what does it matter? As long as Fu Bao is happy, safe, and joyful, that is enough. Su Qingwei smiled tenderly. Indeed, as long as our Fu Bao has a worry-free life, that is all that matters. The setting sun cast its warm glow upon the joyful scene of one large and one small figure playing together, radiating warmth and tranquility.
Ah.
The osmanthus cake is truly sweet. I squinted my eyes in satisfaction. Being a carefree rice worm is so wonderful. The whole family is here. Not a single one missing. Perfect. The end.